2020. It's a Monday. We're 10 days away from the extended community quarantine deadline. And you are watching Agenda here on Signal TV, channels 8. And I'm getting confused here, but we will give you the news as they develop, and we hope that you will join us and get better informed with COVID-19, the enhanced community quarantine, and the likes. Now, for the headlines. The government has sorry. The government eyes faced targeted lifting of COVID quarantine. The Interagency Task Force, or IATF, has yet to come to a final decision on the enhanced community quarantine after April 30. But currently, the government is eyeing a phase by phase lifting of the ECQ. IATF spokesman and Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles said this, emphasizing that we have to follow the advice of the World Health Organization against abruptly lifting quarantine protocols. In the phase by phase lifting of the ECQ, the government will have to decide which establishments can now reopen, who will be allowed to work, and which transport systems will be open. However, the government has said before that if we experience a new spike or resurgence in COVID cases, they will have no choice but to reimpose stricter measures. The Armed Forces of the Philippines confirms the memo on stricter quarantine. The Armed Forces of the Philippines confirmed the leaked Air Force memorandum, which directs personnel to prepare to implement a stricter quarantine. But AFP spokesman Brigadier General Edgardo Arevalo assured the public that there is no cause for panic, as the memo merely instructs soldiers to prepare. Arevalo also said that the context of the memo is that their deployment will come just in case people will continue to disobey rules and protocols. Third news for today: health workers, nurses want regular testing. Health worker groups called for regular testing among their peers in the field. The Alliance of Health Workers, AHW, and Filipino Nurses United, FNU, expressed concern over the risk faced by health workers in the Philippine hospitals, and as such, they are calling for a wider scope of testing among health professionals. Currently, only those who have severe or mild symptoms of COVID-19 are eligible for testing. But both groups say that all workers, regardless of their symptoms, must undergo COVID testing. They say that this will pave the way for COVID-free staff in hospitals and will allow the government to flatten the curve more efficiently. Both AHW and FNU also made calls for the government to hire and train health workers while also increasing hospital budgets, as uncertainty continues to loom on when the COVID-19 pandemic would end. Report LGU violations of quarantine. Malacanang urged the public to report human rights violation by local government officials amid the enhanced community quarantine. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said there have been concerns of alleged human rights violations against those who defied quarantine protocols. It urged the public to make sure these violations do not go unnoticed so that appropriate agencies can take action. The Interior Department, which supervises the local government units, and the police, has said that it is committed to uphold human rights at all times. The Philippines is at risk of losing 228 billion pesos in OFW remittances. The national government stands to lose 4.5 billion US dollars, or over 220 billion pesos of OFW remittances due to the pandemic. This was according to the report of ACT's OFW coalition of organizations headed by former Congressman Aniceto Bertiz III. Bertiz said the 220 billion peso figure is even the best case scenario. All these are due to the COVID-19's hit on the job market, as the shipping and tourism industries are suffering major job losses due to the pandemic. We'll try to give you more news as they come. And for now, let's go over to our first guest in our interview portion to update you on what's happening out there. We have with us a known health advocate. He is also a special advisor to the Interagency Task Force on Emerging Infectious Diseases. He is a leading internist and cardiologist at the Manila Doctors Hospital. Let's call in Dr. Tony Leachon. Dr. Tony, are you there?
Morning, Cito.
Okay, good morning, Dr. Tony. Welcome to the program. How are you doing?
I'm good. A little busy
Okay.
after my appointment at the NTF.
Okay, now I've been informed that you are part of the panel of advisors in the Interagency Task Force. Now, first question would be: were you part of the group that submitted your recommendations to President Duterte on what, as far as the science and the health concerns are concerned, whether to lift or not to lift the ECQ?
I was on board about 2 weeks ago, to be exact, of March 27. So I'm reporting to Secretary Carlito Galvez, a special advisor to the National Task Force, together with Dr. Ted Herbosa. I'm reporting to Secretary Galvez. The only time that we presented to the IATF was during the presentation of our blueprint to the IATF. And the next meeting would be with the President this afternoon. So I was summoned to be at the palace at 4 o'clock, together with the other secretaries of health and other health advisors. So today, so we will be meeting the President together with Secretary Duque. So that will be my that will be the time that we'll be giving the recommendations to the cabinet and perhaps the secretary.
Okay, as we stand, Dr. Tony, what would be the general recommendations of the physicians and the scientists on board? Because that meeting will take place this morning, and I believe the recommendations are to be submitted to Malacanang this morning. Where are the doctors and the scientists headed as far as the ECQ lifting is concerned?
Okay. Cito, we use three things. The first is the Department of Health data, and of course the other data coming from researchers and epidemiologists. The second would be the reference modelings in other countries. And for today, we will use our blueprint, our plan of action. Basically, not so far from the World Health Organization. There are 6 criteria from the World Health Organization that we will be considering. So if I may, so the first one is about transmission or transmission rate. I have good news for you based on last night. The Philippines is doing better in terms of flattening the curve. We're averaging 220 cases per day. since April 1. The doubling time, which is a measure, an international measure for transmission, has increased from 3 to 5 days to about 15 days. So that's good. But the cases are still increasing. The case fatality rate is quite aligned with the with the global average. There are 12 new deaths, and our case recovery rate is kind of low compared to the world average, which is ours is 9.1, and the world is about 25.6. So since we focus more on the more critical cases because of the limited test kits before, so we expect that the deaths will be higher, and because of those stay in the hospital, the recovery rate will be, of course, slower. So based on the transmission rate and the viral spread, we are actually getting there, but not, I would say, very safe. So if you have, let's say, a traffic light, dashboard green being acceptable or go, yellow ongoing, and then red is actually stop, then perhaps we're not yet on the transmission. The second criterion that we always use is the health system capacity, and this is based on our capacity to detect, test, and isolate and treat every case. Since the mass testings have been started only April 14, and there are 3 or 4 big cities doing it, and the RITM right now, for your information, is closed because of um, the health of the medical staff. But there are other 15 um, subnational laboratory. In Manila, you have about 4. You have the Lung Center, San Lazaro, St. Luke's, Quezon City, and Global, and then the National Philippine General Hospital and the NIH. But of course, the bulk of the examinations are being done at the RITM. Now, number 3 is the outbreak risk in hospitals and nursing homes. To date, we have 766 cases involving the doctors, 339 nurses, 342 for the doctors, 22 top doctors perish to COVID. So we're not there. Um, I think the healthcare system is still overwhelmed because of the delay in the mass testings that we can actually isolate and detect these patients before they are considered patients and going to the hospitals. Number 4, preventive measures in the workplace is school. I think in the workplace, the business community is just waiting for the signal of the government. But just in case, it will be a localized lifting or a facing type or a rolling reopening. It will only involve the essential workers, meaning to say those are essential to our survival. Of course, the food, the healthcare, sanitation services, and the like. But we will still enforce the ECQ. And then importation risk. We want to prevent second wave like in Singapore, and of course in Japan. This has been a problem. Singapore has been tagged with the number 1 spot
Do, uh,
because of
Doc
the
Tony, yeah, Doc
and
Tony,
the last one
if you don't
is
mind,
the preparedness of the community.
yeah, if you don't mind, can we stop first and reset our connection because the signal has really deteriorated, and for let's try to reboot. And if it still doesn't work, if you could just text us all of that information because we really value that the data you're sharing with us and the pointers. It seems our signal deteriorated from the time we had done the testing. So let's try to reboot and we'll reconnect with you if you don't mind. Okay, that's Doc Tony Leachon, and essentially from from what I picked up from Doc Tony, well, it seems to be good news, at least from what I could figure out from his earlier presentation, because according to what I heard, the doctors and the scientists that are advising the president are following the World Health Organization guidelines, whether or not we can lift the enhanced community quarantine or not. Because as I read earlier, the World Health Organization is cautioning world leaders and governments against the rush to lift quarantine measures because of a relapse or a second wave, which could be worse than the first wave. And from what Doc Tony was saying, the transmission rate has uh, has gotten better, because before it would you could people were transmitting COVID in like 3 or 5 days, and it has now taken much longer, something like 15 days if I'm not mistaken. And then there's a flattening of the curve, etc. And that is the whole point to this ECQ. In fact, I got a message this morning from a friend who was quoting a woman who wrote a piece regarding ECQ, and in that piece, the writer pointed out that the enhanced community quarantine is not a medicine. It's not the cure for COVID-19. The idea for the ECQ is to give people, the hospitals, a fighting chance, because if we at least do the quarantine, we can slow the transmission of COVID-19. Fewer people will have to go to the hospitals. While we're doing that, the government will put up the mass quarantine area, etc., and alternative hospitals. We're basically just delaying things, buying time, so that we can deal with the problem better, but it's not the cure. Anyway, let's try Doc Tony Leachon again. Doc Tony Leachon, I hope you have a better connection. Good morning again.
Good morning, Cito. This is a better
Better.
connection.
Great, great. Okay, Doc Tony, you said the good news was we seem to be flattening the curve. The rate of transmission takes much longer. The only bad news is we have higher mortality than other countries.
Right.
Am I correct? Okay, what else?
We have a lower recovery rate, though the picture that we see in the Department of Health, because these are absolute numbers, when you compare with the rest of the world, we're actually lower than the rest of the world, because we were surprised and, of course, overwhelmed. And the Department of Health has opted to monitor only the cases in the hospital, because in reality, Cito, we also monitor those cases in the outpatient and as whether they improve or not. But in the Philippine setting, since our documentation are basically the hospital, so we expect deaths in the hospital, and we expect that because of the prolonged stay, an average of 2 to 3 weeks in the hospital, the recovery rate is slow. But I think we're getting there, and I heard you that the ECQ is working. The transmission rate or the doubling time is 15 days right now. But the
Yeah.
other pillar or cornerstone of the plan of the government, which is mass testings and protecting the healthcare workers, we need to do something about it. And since we just started last week, April 14, and still underway, plus the risk of the OFW coming this week, about 2,500 every day, and that's about 150,000. The risk of a second wave should be handled as well. And the other thing that you mentioned, the communities are fully educated and engaged, but some of our kababayan are violating the ECQ, and that may lead to some second wave in the future. So based on the WHO criteria and our guidelines, we're getting there, but not ready. I think. And based on your question, whether we would have a partial leave, my in my discussion with Secretary Galvez last week, the grand plan was to have localized lifting, basically in Luzon area, and we'll study and review whether Metro Manila, because right now we have increasing cases in Quezon City. In Quezon City, for your information, this is basically new data. Um, Quezon City is 1,047 cases because of is the most density in the NCR, followed by Pasig at 14%, Caloocan 8.5%, Marikina. And then the other thing that I need to tell you, which is very important, the data that we're getting is not real time as opposed to other countries in the world. On the average, it takes about 7 days after a recovery is announced publicly, and 5 days after a death is announced publicly. So if you want a clear picture, I think I saw Congressman Estela Kimbo. We need to have real-time data and more granular data, because this will be used by the president and the cabinet on April 30, regarding whether to partially leave or still continue or a phase down approach. And I think this also being used in New York. If you notice in CNN, they use the granularity of the data to plot the epidemic curve. And I think New York right now is plateauing, going down. And I think we need to see the figure, the epi curve, and plus the granularity of the data, because all of the decisions of the government, let's say demographic distribution, we need to see that, so that we will know, based on the metrics, their viral spread and their healthcare capacity, we will know. Because if we open up and there's a second surge, this will be negating the primary gains of the ECQ done in the last 30 days. So this is it, Sito. This is the situation
Yeah.
of COVID in the Philippines.
Okay, there seems to be signs that we are flattening the curve. It's giving the hospitals enough room to deal with the extreme cases, the severe cases. Secretary Lito Galvez and the private sector have already built and are now running the mass quarantine facilities. But the reality, Doc Tony, is there's no medicine, there is no vaccine, and we need to get the economy running. So, matama bang sabihin ko na kapit sa patalim ang mangyayari? Even if we did phase by phase return to work or operations or lifting, the fact of the matter is we will be living, working, walking in an environment where COVID 19 will be a constant and perpetual threat.
Yeah, Sito, that's a very good question. You know that there's a tight balance between health and economy, and I think Secretary Pernia was very clear that he wanted to push for lifting of the ECQ. But of course, health metrics are very important. That's why I look at some reference. You have the University of Cambridge done by two Indians, that a 49 lockdown, a single lockdown, will be effective. I think if we were going to leave prematurely on April 30 without the infrastructure in place, like the mass testings, and then, of course, the readiness of the COVID hospital so that we can open the tertiary hospitals, this might actually cause problems for us, considering we are not prepared at the moment. I think we're going to be prepared from May 1 to May 15. I think with just tweaking the environment and their vital capacity, plus the updating of the data of the Department of Health. I think we'll be okay. In the United States, 30 days also on lockdown. President Trump wants a big bang. Of course, this was proposed by the governors, and they want, of course, regional or localized facing. So I'm very apprehensive. The metaphor that I'm going to use, we're in the ICU right now. So if you're going to transfer the patient out of the ICU, mahirap naman kung hindi ready pa, and basically because of the clamor of the business community, it might be detrimental to do that. So the best approach would be perhaps Luzon. I discussed it with Secretary Galvez. Will
Okay.
be on ECQ with face down, and then
Okay.
allow essential workers, and then the
Yeah.
NCR will be still ECQ up to the May 15, and then localize which cities in the national capital region will actually
Okay.
fulfill the message.
Well, we're just gonna have to wait and see. And in the meantime, we'll have to end it at that. Dr. Leachon, we hope that the sooner the patient gets out of ICU, the better it is for the entire country. Thank you very much for your input this morning,
Very
Doc
much.
Tony.
Yeah.
Stay
Thank you.
strong, stay safe, stay healthy, please. God bless you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
that was Dr. Tony Leachon. He is one of the several advisors of the IATF regarding this COVID-19 pandemic. Now let's move to our province, my province, the province of Batangas, where we are going to try to connect to the governor, governor there, Dodong Mandanas, Hermilando Dodo Mandanas, governor of the province of Batangas. He also served as representative or congressman of the second district for 9 years. Governor, magandang umaga po.
Magandang umaga naman sa aking kababayan dito.
Sir, makibalita lang po kami sa Batangas. Kamusta na ang kalagayan ng ating mga nasasakupan? Ano po ang mga ginagawa ng inyong pamunuan regarding COVID-19?
Ngayon ay ang ginagawa natin ay mahalaga na sumunod sa lahat ng mga pag-uutos na pinaiiral ngayon ng national government. Alam natin na halos lahat hanggang detalye ng ginagawa ay nagmumula ngayon sa national government. At ang lalawigan naman ng Batangas, at naman naman Cito, matagal na tayong lagi magkakasama, ay handa naman tayo. Sa 2020, noong December 2019, nag-doble na natin ang ating budget. Noon, 4 billion to 2020, 8 billion na. 8 billion tayo ngayon. Kaya nga lamang, hindi natin akalain na sunod-sunod ang kalamidad na tumama sa Batangas. Noong January, pumusok ang Bulkang Taal. Ang ating calamity fund na more than 62 million pesos nagamit na kaagad at more than 100 million ang nagamit kaya nag-realign pa tayo at marami naman tayong na-realign. Pagkatapos, ito ng February, nagsimula ang ating COVID at diniklara ng March ang ating kalagayan ngayon ng national government. Kaya nakapagbigay na rin tayo ng mahigit na 100 milyon pa ulit dahil nag-realign pa tayo. Pero hindi pa natin ay magaganap yung iba pa natin yung mga nakabudget. Dahil kaya ngayon yung ating mga ospital, ilan ang napinsala ng bulkan, ngayon eh, hindi talaga gumagana ng husay. Ano? Pero nandiyan dyan naman ang national government. Ha? At pinipilit nila na talagang ipaganap yung kanilang mga balangkas. At siyempre, tayo ay sumusunod. Ha? Yung, yan ang ating kalalagayan ngayon.
Okay.
Nagre-report kami ng lahat ng nangyayari, Department of Health at saka Interior, at talagang pinagaganap ang mga pautusan.
Kamusta naman po ang pagpapatupad ng ECQ? Kasi balita ko po dyan sa Gawing Lipa, doon sa aming kinalalagyan dyan, kadalasan, talagang ang bagsik, talagang mahigpit ang pagpapatupad ng ECQ, bara-barangay, hindi ka talaga makalabas dahil naghigpit na yung mayor dyan, si Mayor Africa. Ngayon, sa kabuuan po ng Batangas, pinoproblema ba ninyo yung pagpapatupad o marami bang mga pasaway din katulad din sa Metro Manila na pinoproblema na ngayon ng kapulisan at ng gobyerno?
Tayo naman ang ipinatutupad talaga natin. Ha? At ating iisipin, at alam mo naman na ang Batangas ay napakaraming exemption dahil ang Batangas ang pinakamalaking producer ng pagkain, baboy, manok, itlog, isda, yung tilapia. Kaya ito rin ang daanan ng ating mga bigas. Dahil ng ating marami ang itinutuong dito sa Batangas Bay, Batangas Port. At itong ating malalaking warehouse ng NHA ay naririto. Kaya yung mga bagay na talagang pangangailangan pang-araw-araw. Dito kaya maraming exempted. Kaya medyo yung lockdown naman sinusunod. Pero ganun din, yung iginagalang yung mga exempted. Alam mo naman dito sa daan ng halos 50% yung gasolina at diesel. Mabuti ka kontiyan. Pero naririto ang malalaking tipo ng Caltex, refinery ng Shell, nandito rin ang ating Phoenix, narito ang Sea Oil, ang tipo ang petrol. So talagang pati mga LPG, dito rin ang parang energy center. Kaya kailangan nito pang araw-araw.
Kamusta naman po? Kasi may nabalita kami na may tinatayo kayong quarantine center sa Ibaan at ito ay tinututulan ng mga residente doon. Naayos na po ba yung problema doon o yung kanilang posisyon?
Sa totoo lang, wala naman tayong problema. Merong utos ng DILG na lahat na local government ay mag-identify ng pwedeng gawin na isolation units. So, ang lalawigan, nag-identify kaagad at inihanda. Ngayon, ang pag-ooperate naman, hindi iniuutos yun sa probinsya. Iniuutos, ang nag-ooperate dito, ang nag-uutos kung sino nag-ooperate, siyempre, DOH. Dahil pera, sila may kagamitan, at ang lalawigan, ay nakapokus tayo dito sa ating mga 12 ospital. Na ngayon, siyempre meron ding lugar para sa mga isolation units. Kaya nga lang, medyo mga nasira at umutok ang vulkan. Pero ngayon, inaayos na natin.
Governor,
Yun namang mga bayan na kinalalagyan nito, may utos din sa kanila. na gawin yan. Gusto, binigyan pa ng pamahalaang ang national natin ng parang isang buwan na halagahan ng kanilang internal revenue allotment para nga sa mga ganito. At ganoon din, pero ang lalawigan, kalahating buwan lang ng IRA at nakatutok talagang gamitin para sa mga ospital.
Okay.
So,
Governor,
yung mga problemang ganon, yun ay problema ng community mismo, ng town and ng mga cities. At gusto natin liwanagin na ang pagpapaganap at yung the social amelioration of the SWD, ang national government hindi pinadadaan yan sa probinsya. So, ang responsibility ay direct sa cities and municipalities. Ganun din, ang pondo para dito sa COVID, sa mga isolation at kwan, dinidiretso rin sa munisipyo at sa cities. Kaya, yun, sinusunod namin dito sa lalawigan ng Batangas. Sinusunod natin.
okay,
Ang problema, din naman, di yung mga mayors at saka ang national government.
okay. Governor, matanong ko lang po, ano po ang kalagayan sa mga hospital dyan sa Batangas? Humupa na po ba? Humupa na yung mga kaso? Galaw na ba yung mga hospital? O talagang hanggang leeg pa rin yung problema? Dami ng pasyente.
Sorry, hindi ko nakuha yung problema. Ano yung problema?
Yung pong mga hospital, po pa rin ba o medyo lumuluwag na as far as COVID patient?
Talagang punong-puno. Okay? Nagre-reklamo ang mga ibang hindi makapasok. Pero uunawain talaga na punong-puno ang mga ospital. Pati ang lalawigan, 3 sa aming 12 ospital, ang tigil ngayon. Sarado. Bakit? Talagang napasukan ng COVID. Yun mismong aming in charge ng ospital, Assistant Provincial Health Officer, confirmed. Siyempre marami siyang kausap doon. Sundin natin ang protocol ng DOH. Di lahat lahat ngayon naka-confine sa kanilang bahay, isolated. Kaya, kailangan mag-disinfect, we have to follow the route. Yun ang ating ginagawa ngayon. Kaya, totoo problema. Kaya, tama na isulong ng Department of Health. Itong pagkalagay ng isolation units. At ang mga cities and municipalities, harapin niya talaga. Ang dito, yung sistema ng local autonomy ay binago. Ngayon, walang autonomy, diretso pa rin sa national. Everything is controlled by national. Ngayon, hindi pa nang magreklamo. Dahil sa panahon itong sumunod at magkaisa. Pero ang lalawigan, napakalaki ng aming sakop. Kaya kung may mga nag-delay yung mga tulong at mga kuwan, ay amin na magpananalapi ang aming i-realign. Mabuti at nag-doble kami ng aming kaya nga lang na-delay yung iba. Dapat ang lahat ng barangay mayroong rescue vehicle o parang ambulansya. Na-delay ito dahil ng mga pangyayari. Pati mga suppliers hindi makapag-quote ngayon yung iba. Kaya handa ang Batangas, may pondo, may pamamaraan for implementation, pero siyempre nasa pawan ng mga mangyayari. Pagputok ng bulkan, state of national calamity issued dahil sa COVID-19. Pero ganun pa man, ang mahalaga ay kaisa tayo at nagkakaisa na nagtutulungan. Kaya nga lamang kailangan talagang sakripisyo at yung hindi pagiging makasarili. Yun ang problema ko ngayon. Dahil sa dami ng nangangailangan at hindi sanay dito, malaki ang masasabi natin ay stress, tension. At ganun din, iniisip na natin, pagkaisip na wala na ang lockdown at naubos na rin ang sa gobyerno, paano ito haharapin? Yun ang pinaghahandaan ngayon ng lalawigan ng Batangas.
Okay, sana naman po ay makabangon kayo ng mabilis, may ayos lahat at gabay tayo ng Panginoon. Kasama po namin ang lalawigan at araw-araw po pinagdadasal namin ang lalawigan upang umunlad bilang mga Batanggenyo. Maraming salamat po, Governor Mandanas.
Maraming salamat, Cito.
Okay, that's Governor HERMILANDO Mandanas of the province of Batangas. Seems to be a tough day for all of us, especially I don't know what it is today, but there seems to be a overall problem with the signal for everyone who's now working online. Let's go to our next interview, and for this one, we have invited a urologist, a urological surgeon, Dr. PJ Fernandez, and this is actually my special request after Mayor Alfred Romualdez of Tacloban told us in our interview that a month after the Typhoon Yolanda hit them, they had problems with gout, and it kind of made me wonder what sort of problems occur when a lot of people become dependent on processed food, sardines, etc. Let's bring in Dr. PJ Fernandez. Doc PJ, are you there?
Yeah, okay. I'm here.
Okay. Doc PJ, good morning. How are you? I hope you are COVID-free and healthy and happy.
Yes, I'm COVID-free and also happy and healthy. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to guest in your show.
Well, thank you for joining us, and I won't take so much of your time, but I think you heard my intro. I interviewed Mayor Alfred Romualdez of Tacloban a week ago, and he shared a story that 1 month after Typhoon Yolanda, because most of the people were surviving on canned goods because that's what was being given out. The aftermath was, widespread cases of gout. Tinatawag natin sa Tagalog ito na ano bang tawag nila, yung sakit ng matatanda, sabi nila. That's why I said let's bring in a urologist to explain this issue of gout. And ano ba yung mga nangyayari pag panay ang kain ng mga sardinas, etc.?
Yes, okay. Thank you, Sir Cito, for that question. No, being a urologic surgeon, we're more concerned about stones in the kidney. No, but the stones in the kidney sometimes result from high uric acid levels.
Mm-hmm.
So yung gout is part and parcel or part of the effects of high uric acid intake. Now, you mentioned a while ago that Congressman Romualdez was pointing at the intake of processed foods. That's
Yes.
true. That's completely true because these processed foods have, for example, sardines. They have you have the sardines being deep sea fish. Deep sea fish it has high uric acid intake content, so it eventually would lead to a low urinary pH. No, mababa ang very acidic po, maasim po yung urine natin, and that would be make the patient prone to form stones, no, yung uric acid stones na tinatawag. And when it comes to gout, ganun din po yun, no? Yung high uric acid levels will translate into gout formation sa mga joints po natin.
Mhm. Okay, ano pa ang mga sakit ang napapansin ninyo nangyayari during calamities or extended calamities? And I guess, I mean, ECQ is more than a calamity. It's a nightmare kasi people aren't eating healthy. Based
Yes.
on what I've been watching on Facebook, nadidinig ko sa mga tao-tao, labo-labo ang kain. Yung iba tinatamad magluto kung ano na lang ang mabuksan o makita sa refrigerator. And then, of course, there's this issue of not having enough exercise, not sweating enough, or not drinking enough water. What diseases or ailments occur during this kind of pandemics?
Okay. Now we have to understand that the body is like a machine. So every organ will work in unison with the others. So if you have poor intake of good food or healthy food, for example, you take a lot of fatty foods, it would eventually lead to hypertension. If your sugar intake is very high, it could lead to diabetes. And if you combine that diabetes and hypertension, it can lead to kidney failure. No, yung hypertension can also lead to stroke and other problems. No, you mentioned about not being able to go to the gym or jog around because of the quarantine. That's also true. And what we have right now, the lifestyle of our people is very sedentary.
Yes.
So everything is intake, poor intake. Everything is, but there's no expenditure of energy. So yun nga, number one yan, hypertension, diabetes, renal failure, stones, among others. Yan ang mga usual na pagiging problems natin.
Okay, so under this situation, what are you observing in your clinic or in your hospital? Because I heard hindi pa naman daw ganon karami yung mga problema sa gout. And in fact, I guess you don't get to see those patients. I think that's the biggest complaint right now, Doc PJ, na hindi kami makapunta sa doktor namin dahil sa COVID.
Yes, yes. I agree with that. No, there is an alternative going on with the help of telemedicine. We're able to see our patients also, but you asked about you mentioned that there is not much reported cases of gout because hindi sila nare-report hindi sila nakikita and also it takes time. So we've been on lockdown approximately 4 to 5 weeks maybe.
Yeah.
So by this time wala pa masyado yan. But then if this continues on for the next several weeks, for a couple of months, we might have problems emerging. Stones, whether uric acid or calcium stones
Yeah.
yan.
Yeah, what can people do to at least delay or avoid it altogether? Kasi syempre, wala rin naman silang magawa. Naka-interno ka, you are basically quarantined. What can people do? Because some people have said, "Oh, you have to exercise more, you have to sweat." Some people say, "Oh, you have to drink 6 glasses of water." You're the physician. Can you give us the science?
Okay. The first thing that you have to do is yeah, eat in moderation. It's very tempting to eat so much now that we are at home. Pag tao walang magawa, madalas yan, kain pag walang magawa, di ba? So we have to eat in moderation to be able to enjoy the food that we want longer.
Okay.
Also, you mentioned also about hydration. 6 glasses of water would not be enough. I think 2.5 to 3 liters of water a day would be very good in preventing stone formation and in making the urine not prone to stone formation also.
Let's repeat that, Doc. 2.5 liters of water a day.
Yes, 2.5 to 3 liters of water to 3
Okay,
liters of
but
water a
when
day.
you say a day, kasi alam mo, makukulit yung ibang kaibigan natin, they will argue. Are you talking about 6 to 6 or 6 in the morning to 12 midnight? Yung a day natin, what is the definition of a day?
Well, it's arbitrary, but maybe during the 15 to 16 hours that you're awake, You
Okay.
should be able to take that amount. That's approximately 10 glasses of water.
10 glasses of
10
water.
glasses of water. So maybe you take two every meal, and then in between you have
Yeah.
your other 4 glasses.
Okay, what about the exercise at home suggestion? Kailangan
Well,
ba talaga pumawis? Yung nagpapawis ba? Because, some people are saying, I'm sweating like a pig. I'm stuck at home. I don't have aircon and it's summer. So I should be okay. Tama ba yun?
no, no, it's not just sweating. It's also the physical activity. You have to move. You have to move around. Find something to do. You cannot just stay and watch TV all day, or just stand up when it's time to eat already. That's actually you're actually leading yourself towards bad health in a few months' time. You're
Mhm.
preparing yourself for different illnesses.
Okay, last question, Doc PJ, because I'm sure parents and children or young adults are fighting about what kind of food they are eating because it's either too much of these chips and yung mga preserved goods or mga sweets. Now, what are the risks that these young people face eating all of this chichirya?
Okay. As parents, we are compelled actually to be able to discipline our child not only with their values but also in their diet. No, it's also
Mhm.
important because that's something that they will be carrying on in the next decade, no? In the next few decades of their lives. So as early as now, the parents have the responsibility to limit those food. Now, they may allow them to try some, but it should not be given liberally. Um, in my own opinion, in anything in moderation is good. That's why we want to live longer, because we want to enjoy life. So anything in moderation, I'm an advocate for that.
Okay, well, I guess we have warned them enough just by sharing the information you shared with us. At least people now know that they should drink 10 glasses of water. It's not just sweating or pamamawis. Dapat mag-exercise, dapat magtrabaho. Talagang pawisan, hindi na mamawis, magpapawis. And of course, eating in moderation. Thank you very much, Dr. PJ. Fernandez, and we hope that you will continue to stay safe, stay strong, and stay healthy. God bless you, sir.
You too, sir. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, that's Doc PJ, our urological surgeon. And in case you're wondering or just asking, I don't have gout. I am healthy. I have been working really hard at home, and I hope all of you are trying to keep yourself busy. We'll go for a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue with our lineup. We will also have a young lady who is doing an online gymnastics program. We will talk to her and see what else develops in the show. Please stay tuned. Here, I'm Cito Beltran. You are watching Agenda on Signal TV, Channel 8 and Channel 250. We are part of the One News group. You can also see us live on Facebook, One News PH. Now, let us go to our next interviewee. We have with us another governor and yan po ang ginagawa namin ngayon. Pilit naming inaabot. We are trying our best to reach out, connect with various governors, mayors of different areas, provinces. And now we have with us Governor Rodolfo Albano III of the province of Isabela. Governor, magandang umaga sa iyo.
Good morning, Cito. Good morning to all your viewers.
Okay, Governor, makikibalita lang po kami. What is the situation in Isabela? Have you flattened the curve there? Bumaba na ba ang mga bilang ng mga COVID patients and mga nasasawi? How are you coping with the situation, Governor Albano?
Yes, thank you, Cito. No? First of all, yung curve, there's no curve to speak about kasi 8 lang yung COVID patients dito at saka 6 na yung gumaling. So, pinauwi na yung 6. So, we have only 2 left. Ano? Tapos, there's showing signs of, what's this? No more symptoms of COVID. So, the morale here of the people is a little bit high. Tapos we're coping up and we're just maintaining our present setup, Cito.
Okay, magandang balita yan. That's great news. And I guess the next question would be, how aware are the people of Isabela regarding COVID-19? Kasi may mga ibang lugar na parang binabaliwala or malayo sabi nila, malayo sa sikmura, hindi nila pinapansin. Diyan sa Isabela, how are your constituents in terms of awareness of COVID-19? Are they observing social distancing, etc.?
Yeah, siyempre, Cito, hindi maalis na maraming pasaway, maraming hard-headed people, especially pag medyo naubos yung nila sa mga bahay nila and they're going to the public market. Yung public market na talagang tinitingnan namin at binabantayan kasi madami tao lalo na pag market day. Pero doon sa awareness, aware naman sila at takot. Everybody is scared of this COVID thing, COVID-19 thing. Kasi nangyayari, pag sinabi kong positive yung taon na yun, talagang yung taon lahat sila, shutdown talaga, nakikinig, talaga yung barangay, hindi lumalabas yung mga tao. Tapos habang, alam mo yung mga ghostbusters namin, ghostbusters yung tawag ko sa mga nag-spray ng mga bahay. So, okay. Pag pumunta sila doon, lahat. At saka yung sharing, ang maganda yung bayanihan. Yung mga ibang kumukuha ng yung ng goods, binibigyan namin. Yung mga middle class, sometimes binibigay na nila doon sa mga poorest of the poor.
Okay, and what are your plans regarding border control? Kasi yan ang nagiging malaking issue right now. We just spoke with the Governor Mamba of Cagayan, and sinabi nga niya na nakihigpit sila sa kanilang border control dahil may mga nakikidaan o tumatawid sa territory nila. And this is one of the greatest risk or high risk factors. So, dyan sa Isabela, are you going to implement strict border control or katulad sa Batangas na pass through if it's supply chain?
Pass through yung supply chain. Hindi tayo pwede lumabag dun sa IATF. Yung flow ng goods, kailangan tumuloy yan. Pangalawa, yung mga tao, mga farmers dito, pinababayaan namin kasi harvest season ngayon dito. In 2 weeks time, matatapos lang yung harvest ng palay. So, pati yung mga pumapasok dito na bumibili ng pinapayagan namin bumili, yung mga nag-hitchhike na mga tao, na mga from Isabela, Alangan naman hindi namin ito papasukin, pero ganun pa din. Chito, may mga quarantine areas kami dito. Gumawa ako ng mga hanggang 7 at 8 quarantine areas para sa mga kababayan natin. So much so sa mga OFW na parating galing Maynila, galing abroad.
Kamusta naman yung testing? Because actually that was one of the concerns aired by our interview earlier, Dr. LEACHON, na there will be quite a number of OFWs returning to various locations or various provinces. And syempre, meron kayong forced quarantine. Pero do you have the test kits? Do you have the testing facilities dyan sa Isabela? Or mag-uumpisa pa lang kayong bumili?
Yes. Hindi. Facilities namin, meron kaming quarantine areas in Cordon, sa boundary, going inside Isabela. May isang resort doon na nagpa-party lang. Nagpahiram. Si dating Mayor Ami Rambaro. No? Tapos we have this Isabela State University dorms in Itiague, a few kilometers away from Cordon. Yun ang ginagamit namin mga facilities. Hello?
Yeah. Paano yung testing kit sa Governor Albano?
Ay, wala kaming gano'n we don't have that, kasi ang daming asymptomatic din eh. So, useless yung pag-test mo. I-retest mo na naman ng 7 days yan. So, mas mabuti na lang i-mandatory quarantine na lang natin yan. At saka pag tinest mo na naman yan, tapos asymptomatic, hindi rin nila yun sa Maynila. Hindi rin nila ipaprioritize yung pag ng result. So, yung mga may symptoms dito, dinadala na namin sa DOH-sponsored hospital sa Santiago Medical Center, saka dyan sa Tuguegarao, sa CBMC, Cagayan Valley Medical Center.
Okay, so any message or anything you want to share with our viewers and listeners here on Agenda, Governor?
Sito, sana yung kasi ang itong economic stimulus natin is yung agriculture sector na lang. Nakakakuha tayo ng 2% growth rate dito dahil dito sa agriculture sector natin na continuous na nag-harvest. Sana mga April or May 1, sana mag-resume na yung sa infrastructure naman. Sana yung mga ibang mga projects, especially yung mga flood control, sana tumuloy na. Kasi after May, tag-ulan na yan eh. Baka hindi na natin matapos yung mga projects natin. Saka yung mga workers natin, especially yung mga construction workers natin na Cito, kailangan na nila yung pera para makapag-stimulate din tayo ng economic growth dyan sa infrastructure sector natin.
Okay, the good news, Governor, sabi sa amin ni Secretary William Dar na ipaprioritize na yan, iniintay lang nila yung funding for increased investments on the agriculture. And we will try our best to raise that issue also. We hope that you continue to stay strong, stay safe, and stay healthy, Governor, and God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Cito. God bless you too. Don't worry, the morale here of the people are high. So okay lang kami. Thank you.
Okay, and that's Governor Rodolfo Albano, kasi isang pamilya ng mga kaibigan ko na halos magkapare-pareho ang mga nickname. And in any case, we are glad that the people of Isabela are healthy, are strong, and that you're looking forward to your rice harvest. Actually, nag-aanihan na po ngayon. So that's another good thing to look forward to. And that they only have actually 2 active COVID-19 patients who are also on the mend already. So that's good news. And that's what cooperation will get us. Now, let's go to our next guest, who is also a friend. Medyo marami-rami akong kaibigan this morning na may interview natin. And this would be Mr. Wick Veloso. He is the President and CEO of Philippine National Bank. If you are on Facebook, chances are you have been seeing some of the activities that PNB has been doing. But let's hear it from Wick Veloso. Wick, I can see you there. I hope you can hear me and that our comms is clear this morning.
Loud and clear, Cito. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, and great. I thank God really that our signals have improved. Now, getting back to Business Week, you were one of the first banks, if not the only bank I know, who rolled out a bank on wheels at the very start of this COVID pandemic. And some of my friends said, "Hey, that was really brave of PNB to do that." Were you not afraid of a security risk, and B, people just kind of rushing your bank on wheels? And how did you guys come up with this idea of bank on wheels?
Uh, Cito, and to the rest of your viewers, magandang umaga. Yung Bank of Wheels ng Philippine National Bank is a legacy business. If you recall, way back in the 70s, we already have Bank on Wheels.
Yes,
Now,
yes.
the Bank on Wheels that we have right now are really meant for special events where the necessity for customers to have access to cash is used. But during this pandemic, we decided to immediately launch the Bank on Wheels on areas that are in need of cash. We get feedback either from the local government or from our branch managers where there are specific requirements for cash. Currently, we have two Bank on Wheels going around, and there's going to be two more. The reaction of the public, I'll share with you, Sito, is
Mhm.
bordering on being emotional to really, crying in joy because during this difficult period, we are not servicing only Philippine National Bank. We're servicing everybody. And please take note, when you have a lockdown, it is not easy for you to be able to go to the nearest bank and an area where there's a lot of population in need of cash, primarily because cash is the primary means of conveyance in the respective areas. Diyan sila nangangailangan. So
Mhm.
we made sure that we have security. Hindi mo naman kailangan na napakaraming security. Actually, ang talagang security mo yung madla na nakapila. There's a lot of people, we tell them to have safe distancing. If the pictures I have as I get to be updated really makes me proud that the Filipinos are practicing safe distancing. Kahit mahaba ang pila, they make sure that they practice safe distancing. So the message is the Bank on Wheels is there to serve not only our fellow PNB customers, but to the whole Filipino community in need of cash.
Okay, now aside from the bank on wheels, I just learned about it this very minute. You have the Bayanihang Libreng Padala program, and I have to confess, yan yung mga bagay-bagay na hindi namin masyadong nasasagap dahil siyempre hindi naman kasama sa reality natin yan. We usually do electronic transfers. Itong Bayanihang Libre Padala program, can you please explain it to our viewers?
Uh, ang bagong bayani natin sa Pilipinas ay ang ating mga overseas foreign workers. You will be surprised. Philippine National Bank's remittance business has already been up and running since 1968. We have 42 offices directly under PNB and 68 agent banks in 16 countries globally. And itong mga kababayan natin, hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas sila nagkakaroon ng problema on the pandemic. They're also having difficulty either on a lockout. And this is the time para magtulungan tayong lahat. That is why, in honor of our bagong bayani, which is our overseas foreign workers, on nung April 9, National Heroes Day, we honored them with the free padala. And the objective here really is to help them as they send required support for the recipients way back in the Philippines. Ang kanilang contribution sa ekonomiya is just so much, and we would like to honor them. This is our own little way of saying thank you to those other unsung heroes. Either they be medical frontliners in other countries or those that are assisting uh, businesses as accountants or as engineers or whatever you may be. The message also of Kapitan and Philippine National Bank is nandiyan dyan kami para tumulong sa ating mga bayani.
Okay, now, Vic, how do you run this? Because most of the companies are shut down. Most of the employees are, staying at home. Now, how do you run this? How many people are you running this Luzon wide? Kasi most of the quarantine naman is Luzon. Is this just in Metro Manila, Luzon wide ba ito? And how many of how are your employees doing it? Because I've heard of other banks and employees who are complaining that it's just a nightmare to get around.
Alam mo, Sito, when the lockdown started, we already went into BAU mode. Our business continuity plan was set in place. We kept roughly around 650 people in head office to be able to man the support transactions. Most of them are stay-in. When I say stay-in, doon sila natutulog, doon sila kumakain, doon sila nagmahal na araw. Binibiro ko nga sila, pwede na lang kayong gumawa ng sarili niyong Station of the Cross dyan sa loob because we do not want them to be infecting our colleagues when you go out.
Correct.
The rest of our colleagues are also connected digitally. So we are able, for example, to already host 2 PNB board meetings digitally. Almost every day, iniikutan ko bawat branch in the provinces. From the northernmost tip of the Philippines all the way to Tawi-Tawi. They give me feedback. Ang daming tayong mga bayani rito na naglalakad para lang makapasok sa trabaho o mga empleyado just to be able to report for work do their respective bayanihan. I'm very impressed also. No? I'd like to share with your feedback because it's almost an everyday thing for me to ask how each and everyone are doing. Ang pagkain is readily available in almost actually lahat ng lugar. Yan ang biggest fear ko before. Maybe the logistical challenge will pose as a problem to us. It's not. They give us feedback, for example, that there are specific hours for them to for the shops or markets to be open, and actually pag naglagay ka ng oras mas dumadami yung tao as opposed to having it open from example 7 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon mas namamanage. So those kind of feedbacks help us. So in other words, we are digitally connected. We are making sure that our operations continue. We have 715 branches. Right now, 363 ang nag-ooperate. Ang aming ginagawa right now, and this is what we are taking advantage of, is we still have a lot of customers that are passbook holders. Hindi mo maaalis ito that, especially the older customers, the value of seeing the passbook and seeing the balance in the passbook is still there. Okay?
Especially in the province.
Especially in the province. So ginagawa namin ngayon, sinasabi namin sa kanila, this is the time for you to be able to convert because the way of banking is going to be totally different when we get back.
Yeah, actually, that was where I was going to head and ask you that next question. Can you give us a glimpse of what banking will be like after, well, I suppose safe to say in 2021, because most of the experts I've talked to said, Cito, forget 2020, just flush it down the toilet and start planning for 2021. Now, in terms of banking, ayan, sinabi mo na yung mga panahon ng passbook banking, medyo mawawala na yan kung, or would be drastically reduced. The, how big a challenge is it to convert your customer from passbook face-to-face banking to online? Because it took my wife 2 years to train me, and I'm still resisting it dahil alam mo na, Jurassic ako. How difficult will it be to convert customers to go electronic?
Uh, the younger customers, no doubt it's going to be very easy. As a matter of fact, the younger customers are a lot more attracted to financial institutions that provide end-to-end digital banking transactions. Ang ginagawa namin is similarly, actually, alam mo, Sito, ang overseas foreign workers, customers ng PNB, they're much ahead of the game. When you're abroad, you can easily pay amortizations digitally through partner real estate agents of ours, through credit card, insurance companies. Pwede silang magkaroon ng facility to be able to do the necessary transfers. No? Mas nauna kami sa overseas kaysa dito sa domestic. Because dito sa domestic, we are still putting a lot of enhancements, pinagaganda ng pinagaganda, and then we are when you say pinagaganda, we are making sure that the customer gets to be able to have the best experience when they do it digitally. Right now, our advantage is that we have a number of customers that are strategically located. Please take note, Philippine National Bank used to be a government bank. And
Yeah.
in a lot of jurisdictions pa rin, dalawa lang kami ng land bank na may presence. Because
Ayun.
land bank being a government bank, kami is the only private bank that has got presence. So yung mga nandun sa probinsya, napsanay pa sa passbook, yan ang kailangan namin convince. Yan ang kailangan namin to be able, in this period, as I understand, since the start of the month, meron na kaming na-convert na around 18,000 customers to go to digital.
So
And,
clearly, Wick, it's not going to be a problem because you already have the OFWs who are familiar. A lot of the young generation, particularly students, are already getting their allowances, transactions, especially those who have parents elsewhere, are already doing it digitally. And so it's just a small shift.
It's going to be a small shift, but as I've shared with you, it will still take a bit of time. And the only reason I say it will take a bit of time, in other areas, the cost of data is still expensive. And
Okay.
our customers will still have to reckon the expenditure when they get to have data into their respective devices.
Okay, well, I'll have to end it at that week, but let's get together on for that. Actually, you were scheduled to be our guest for a long interview, but COVID-19 shut down everything. So we'll get back to you in the near future. And thank you for your time today. Thank you for PNB rolling out the wheels once again and for servicing our kababayans. May you stay safe, stay strong, and stay healthy. God bless you, Wick.
Same to you, Sito. Maraming salamat.
Okay, that's Wick Beloso, President CEO of Philippine National Bank. Now, let's go back to our last and final interviewee. She is a rhythmic gymnast. She has won 4 international wins in the US under the International Gymnastics Federation Level 10 senior category. She is also set to represent the country, or was set to represent the country in the Tokyo Olympics, or should have been Tokyo. I don't know if that's even going to happen ever again. But in any case, let's go to Jessica Tiham. I hope, Jessica, I pronounced your family name correctly.
Yes. Good morning.
Okay, Jessica, I learned that you've organized a free online training sessions for gymnasts. And when my EP shared this with me, I kind of wondered, okay, because my daughter tried out gymnastics when she was quite very young, and you're going to have to rearrange the entire living room to do a gymnast exercise. How will you do it?
My free online training sessions consist of series of exercises that I do every day in gym to help me strengthen and stretch my body to stay healthy and safe for my routines. My first
Okay.
session had aspiring junior gymnasts ranging from ages 13 to 15, but there were some younger gymnasts as well, and they were able to keep up. I
Okay, but yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
The most
Sorry.
important thing is that they're willing to work as hard as they can, knowing that it'll help them in the future with their careers.
Okay, now my question is, how do you physically do this online training without the equipment? I mean, I know you have those whatever you call them. Well, first you need a huge floor
Mhm.
in the gym, and then
Yeah.
you need all the equipment. But in the house, what are you supposed to do?
Usually in the gym, I have 2 to 3 basketball sized court with carpets for competition with very high ceilings. But now at home, I only have my bedroom with wood floor, low ceiling, so I could only do very few. So I think it's best to have just be creative with the things that you could use at home. Like I use chairs for stretching, over splits, yoga mats, and just carpets, rugs on the floor for laying down. And I go in my backyard to do some tosses on the grass or the concrete. And it never hurts to have a brother who could sit on you during over splits.
Okay. Now, how important is it for a gym? Because how often do you work out in a week?
I work out 6 days a week for 4 hours each day.
Now, how important is it for aspiring gymnasts to do some form of training, workout, especially under COVID-19? I guess it would really be great if you can help them. So they go online. What do they look for?
I think it's important to focus on basic fundamentals of rhythmic because most of us, like me, I don't have time to practice that in the gym because we just repeat and repeat the routines for competitions and we don't have time for basic handling or elements. So this time at home isolated gives us a better chance to master the key basics and make us stronger and ready to learn new skills.
Okay, now what do the people look for if, like, let's say I go online, who do I look for, or do I just type out your name and we will be able to see your online program?
Yeah, I have a page on Facebook, Jessica's online RG class, and there's a lot of information there on how to sign up, and there are many people helping me sign up as well.
Okay, my executive producer is asking, with the Tokyo Olympics getting moved next year, what's the latest on your Olympic bid? I mean, is Tokyo still a go? What are people telling you?
People are telling me it's possible. I think it could be possible. I just keep working and working. That's always the goal, and I can see it in my future.
Okay, I suppose it's anybody's guess. I already have my Tokyo 2020 cap and bag. Uh, I have souvenirs from an Olympic event that never happened. So anyway, Jessica, I hope that you are able to help a lot of kids out there, because I know a lot of parents would surely appreciate if you can help their children de-stress and just kind of burn off some energy. And I hope that you are careful, because those splits and stretches between two chairs. Ah, I don't know. They scared the hell out of me, and I'm not even your father. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us this morning, Jessica. Okay, stay safe, stay strong, stay healthy, Jessica. God bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's Jessica Tiham. She's one of our hopefuls for the Olympics. Whenever and wherever that is, I hope it doesn't take too long, because as far as gymnasts are concerned, 1 year can be a big difference. In any case, I suppose that's all for us for now. We apologize for all the technical difficulties experienced at the beginning of the show, but that's the reality of doing broadcasting online. And no, well, we just try our best, and we just keep believing that each day we will get better and better. We thank you for joining us today. We ask that all of you continue to pray. We ask that you all pray for our leaders, for our loved ones, and for the nation. And please, please, please stay home. If anything, this week could possibly be the week where we are going to discover the highest number of COVID cases, and you don't want to be a walking target. Just stay home, and may God bless you, protect you, prosper you, just relieve you, and make you joyful this day. We love you. Please continue to watch Agenda. I'm Cito Beltran. Thank you for watching.